right, guys, welcome to the show. Today we're talking about league winners. I got 7 potential league winners that could really take you to the promised land. Guys that were a little off the radar going into this NFL draft, lower on the consensus rankings. And I want to talk about them because they've been performing very well and have been relatively consistent. Well, most of them on here anyway have been. So 7 league winners here for you guys. We're going to dive into it. Very important you listen. If you don't have these guys, maybe try to make a move to acquire them, but also listen to the information that I'm telling you guys before you guys do, so you guys can make an educated decision, right? Now, a lot of people are asking, okay, waiver wire week 10 today, a lot of people inquiring about that because that's what people put out typically, this day of the week, typically after a week, and we're going into NFL week 10, believe it or not. But I'm not going to talk waiver wire. At this point, your team should be solidified. You should be good to go. At this point, maybe you need to stream a defense, you need to stream a kicker, stuff like that, and that's fine. But literally, at this point, your team should be solid. So if you have a question specifically for waiver wire week 10, drop it below. I'll try to get to it. But be specific with your questions, okay? That's very important, right? I want to focus on league winners, all right? Now, if you haven't played DFS, try prizepicks.com. Use code DFSLion. DFSLion is the code. Save yourself right now. Actually, you get all the perks. You get a $100 deposit match, right? They'll match your deposit up to $100. Try the game. So, for example, this week we got Derrick Henry at 95.5 rushing yards, more or less over or under that, rushing yard stat line. And then you got Nick Chubb also at 89.5. Is he going to be more or less? You select 2 to 5, over-unders, and it's that easy to win. So try it out right now, guys. prizepicks.com. Use code DFSLion. They'll match your deposit up to $100. Go try it. Super fun to play. I play it every single week, and the odds of success are a lot higher, okay? Just simply choose, guys, and drop it below if you guys know. Derrick Henry, over under 95.5. And we got Nick Chubb, 89.5, over or under. Let me know below. And prizepicks.com, create an account. Use code DFSLion. All right, let's talk about these league winners. First guy I got to talk about here was completely under the radar. I did have him in 16 rounds as a backup quarterback with some upside, starting to finally come alive. The guy I'm talking about is Justin Fields. 6 touchdowns in the past 3 games. Absolutely phenomenal numbers when you look at a guy that, again, was under the radar. Nobody was talking about Justin Fields. He was ranked, 15th, 18th, 20th on the Concheapsis rankings amongst quarterbacks, but he's like a running back. He had 178 rushing yards, guys, in week 9. Phenomenal. 42.72 points. The week before, 26-pointer, and then a 23-pointer the week before. So I'm seeing a consistent pattern here with Justin Fields, and a guy that you may want to acquire in a 2-quarterback league, or if you're desperate for a quarterback, make a move to try to acquire him. He's been pretty solid, and I think he's finally found his groove. And if he doesn't get it done in the passing, which he finally got a touchdown to Mooney in week 9, which was nice. If he doesn't get it done in the passing, he's going to make that up in the rushing yards, maybe some rushing touchdowns here and there. But has been consistent, has been efficient. Justin Fields could be a potential league winner the way that he's performing. Pretty phenomenal, right? Number 2 here, Kenneth Walker, a guy I was telling you about. Pick him up. I drafted him as early in the 3rd rounds in mock drafts as I was doing them in the offseason. People are like, you're crazy. Why are you drafting Kenneth Walker? Is because I see things before they happen. I saw that Rashad Penny, years to wow us, were not wowed. I wasn't excited about Rashad Penny at all. I knew that he'd either get hurt or just lack of performance. Sure enough, that happened. Walker is the opportunity to step up. 28 points, 12 points, 29 and 19 the past 4 games. Being consistent, averaging 4.2 yards per carry last week on 109 yards on the ground. Kenneth Walker, absolutely amazing, league winner in what looks like a pretty impressive offense run by Geno Smith with the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith greater than Russell Wilson. Who would have ever thought that going into the season? Absolutely nice to see the underdog thrive. Very happy for Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker. And that goes to say, what if Penny didn't get hurt? What if he actually didn't get hurt? Walker would have never shined. And it makes you think of how many, careers have been hindered by running backs or quarterbacks being, shuttled or being shelved behind that particular player and not getting that chance to shine. So I'm happy Kenneth Walker got a chance to shine. Number 3 here, guys, for league winner, Ramondre Stevenson. Now, here's the thing, right? There's a problem here. If Harris comes back, there could be a problem with a bit of a committee Now, Stevenson is a good combo of receptions, good combo of rushing, and he's getting the attempts. The attempts are there, right? He had, 15 attempts, 16, 11, 19, and 25 the past 5 games. Fantasy points are there, being consistent, averaging around 20 points per game. Again, a nice combo of receptions, a nice combo of rushing yards, getting the volume, getting the attempts. And I really feel that he is the guy. I think he is the most talented out of the running backs if he gets that chance, right? But again, if Harris comes back, then you got a bit of a problem. But as long as Harris gets sidelines and stays sidelines, Stevenson can and will be an efficient running back and consistent every single week. So potentially a league winner here. But again, similar to Kenneth Walker, you need Harris to be completely sidelined, similar to the way Penny was. But I love myself some Stevenson. If he stays as consistent, could be a potential league winner. Number 4 here, we know this. It's kind of obvious at this point, but DeAndre Hopkins had a bit of a down week this week, just under 14 points. Prior to that, what do you have? 33.9, 20.3. He's getting the targets. Only 5 targets, though, in week 9, 13 and 14 the weeks prior. Ever since his return, he has been the primary target for Kyler Murray. I love Hopkins this year. And again, a league winner, a guy that was completely underrated, very low on the ADP because he had that suspension, wasn't going to play. And I like my players playing the full season. But if you guys got Hopkins, you got a value, you got yourself an ace wide receiver who's going to be solid all the way throughout the season. DeAndre Hopkins, a potential league winner. It goes without saying here, right? Next guy here is Dameon Pierce. Now, the thing with Dameon Pierce is he's on an offense that sucks, but he is really, really good. He runs hard. He's completely focused. I know a sports agent that I was talking to that talks to Dameon Pierce regularly, asked him if he could be on the show. He didn't want to do any shows. He doesn't care about the money. He's turning down, jobs and gigs to do shows and interviews and all that because he's so honed in and focused, and rightfully so because he's absolutely crushing it, right? The attempts are there. I mean, he's getting 20-plus attempts in games, 27 the last game. Like, he is getting the volume. He's getting the attempts. This is what I like to see out of my running back. He is the focal point out of the Texans offense, getting a lot of handoffs and running hard when he's getting them. Dameon Pierce, a guy that everyone was sleeping on into the season. Prior to the season was ranked 26th, 27th amongst running backs after his preseason breakout even, right? Didn't even come onto people's radar. So Dameon Pierce, absolutely amazing. I love him. And a guy that you definitely want to consider acquiring if you don't have him. Absolutely amazing, right? Next guy here is Cordarrelle Patterson, coming off a 4-game. He was off for 4 games, right? And he's back, 18.3 points, 13 attempts last game. Now you got Algier there playing hard, playing good. Patterson's still that versatile weapon that can get those receptions, get those goal line carries, and could be a potential league winner. Someone just asked me, should you trade, Jonathan Taylor to get Cordarrelle Patterson? That's a good question. I still think there's some juice left in Taylor if he stays healthy, can be relatively efficient. But obviously that offense is a disaster at quarterback, disaster everywhere, all around. They just fired the head coach. So, when you look at the Colts, you may want to say that, Patterson could actually outperform Taylor. And this is something I told you prior to the season. I said there's going to be a decline with Taylor. There's no running back that finishes 2 years in a row back-to-back. Very rare. Last time it happened was Priest Holmes, 2002, 2003. I keep talking about this stat, right? So Patterson is a guy that could really emerge and probably be better than Taylor, right? Taylor, injuries, what goes up must come down. I talked about this with Taylor. I talked about this with Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp proved me wrong. With wide receiver, it's more likely that they repeat good years. We saw it with Antonio Brown. Cooper Kupp proving me wrong. Now, he did fade a potential injury with his ankle. Lucky there. That could have been catastrophic. But again, the guy's been going so good for so long, he's bound to go down. Whether it's Cooper Kupp, we're seeing it with Taylor. But again, Cordarrelle Patterson, league winner, in a situation where Mariota can't even find his receivers. He's not accurate, right? So he's going to get the short passes to Patterson, who's a versatile Swiss Army knife type weapon, Cordarrelle Patterson, all right? Last guy here is Dante Foreman. You may want to try to buy on him low. He had a bit of a down week this week. His attempts weren't there. Carolina had a bit of a bad game. With McCaffrey gone, you definitely see a spike there. We saw it in week 9, 26 attempts in week 8, 4.5 yards per carry. Amazing week. Again, had a down week this week. They're getting Blackshear involved. They're getting Brown involved. Chuba's been hurt. But if Foreman gets that volume, you're looking at a potential league winner. So I definitely like myself some Dante Foreman. If you are desperate for a running back, look to acquire him, and you could probably pick him up pretty low because he had a bit of a down week. So you could still get some good value and maybe trade for Dante Foreman, who could be an absolute league winner going into NFL Week 10. All right. So Justin Fields, Kenneth Walker, Stevenson, D-Hop, Dameon Pierce, Cordarrelle Patterson, and Dante Foreman. 7 potential league winners that, aside from, who was it? I mean, all these guys, they were completely underrated. Past round 5 ADP pretty much. All these guys, right, are potential league winners that the Chiefs were sleeping on that could really shine this season and win your league for you guys, all right? Now, drop your waiver wire questions below. I'll get to as many questions as I can. And head over to prizepicks.com. The code you want to use is DFS9. Go create an account. Try it out, guys, for DFS. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon. I'm out.